Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show on the Minions of the Zoo streaming channel, our backup channel, because Hammer was an idiot and got our regular channel banned for 7 days. Susan put me over her lap and on my butt, and I don't like it. But here we are on the backup channel. Thank God that we have a backup channel. Reject to the rescue. So, yeah, that's a thing that happened. We got some good news, but let me go over my host really quick. Terry, hello.
Hello.
And Jen, howdy.
Hello.
And we have to say hi to chat. OG Cost is out there. Assassin of the Gray. I am so sorry for screwing that up. I assume, hopefully, maybe, that we'll get some more people once they realize that this is an actual real channel. But I appreciate both of the people who are watching tonight. Thank you very much. Got some interesting things to talk about tonight. Things that work well with our channel, at least this group, the Wednesday night group. We're talking about G4. We're talking about the Electoral College. And we're talking about some men's issues. I think we're a good group to talk about all three of these. Terry and I are both gamers. Jen, you're kind of a gamer too, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
When I
So
get
this will apply to you. Problem is, you two aren't as old as I am, so I don't know. Do you guys remember G4 TV? It used to be called Tech TV.
No.
No.
Of course not.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it, except for the clip that you're about to show everyone.
Yeah. The deal is, G4 TV bought out what used to be called Tech TV. Tech TV was just kind of like a computer channel. And they came up with a couple of entertaining shows. One of them was X-Play, which I never watched because I was never a Morgan Webb fan. She's cute and all, but I just didn't really like it that much. But there was another show on called Attack of the Show. Attack of the Show was a cool show because it talked about it was like watching our show with live people. It would talk about it would have a whole list of news items that they would go over. They even had this little section that was just industry-wide news, that kind of stuff. And they had a couple of different hosts on, a guy and a couple of girls. And they played off each other. They were very fun. It was interesting to watch and listen to them and how they talked. And they would kid around. They do little stunts and skits and stuff. And it was entertaining. It was fun. And then they would have a little last-minute, 10, 15-minute talk about, and Microsoft is going to do this, and PlayStation is going to respond by doing this, and they have somebody do that whole section, and they would end the show. And the graphics in the beginning were quirky, and the music was fun, and it was a really fun show. If you get a chance, go out and Google and type in a Google search, or maybe just on YouTube search, just type Attack of the Show, and see if you can pick up an episode. It was fun. But I can't remember the name of the male host because who cares? But one of the female hosts became an actress. That's Olivia Munn. And Candace something. I can't remember her name. Candace was another person in the show. And then there was a Playboy.
If it's Owens, I'm going to laugh.
No, not Candace Owens. Really thin, pretty white girl. And then the person who did the news was Sarah Underwood. She was a Playboy Playmate model. If you go out on Google and search it, you'll find all kinds of naked pictures of her. I mean, that's just her thing. So I mean, it was pretty hosts, funny people, kind of stuff. It was really good. And I guess when they got bought out by another company, and it turned into like a GQ. They got rid of all the gamer stuff. They got rid of all the tech stuff. And they turned it all into fashion and stuff like that for men. And it dived quickly.
Bet.
So they eventually came back with it, but now they have a new crew on here. And they're already famous for being a show you don't want to watch. I don't know if you've caught this on Twitter, but there was a rant by one of the new hosts. Kind of looks like Kristen Stewart with short blonde hair. You'll see her. I'm going to put a video up of her. But obviously very much into the woke culture, very much a feminist, and
Oh, yes.
decided that the proper thing to do would be blast everybody who watched the show and tell them not to watch it. This is a very much
Well, I'm willing to do her that favor.
Yeah, I was kind of hyped. I was like, oh, G4TV's back. Yeah, I wonder when they're going to be attacking the show. X-Play, yeah. Maybe not. So I'm trying something new with the video tonight. I'm going to try to get the video to work properly within StreamYards and also have it work properly in OBS. So we'll see if I can figure a way of getting it done here. So I'm not going to play the entire video, but I'm going to play enough of it so you can get an idea of what this person's like.
Sexism in gaming. In joining G4...
This is not where I thought we were going,
I know,
but
you
I'm here.
have no idea.
I'm listening. Yeah.
In joining G4, I was ecstatic to be part of something that I grew up watching as a child. But every time G4 is brought up in various channels...
You can already tell what's coming with this. When a woman who is like this is talking to the TV and her or to the camera, I guess for her, and her voice is already, you know you're in trouble. So get this.
Even in this YouTube channel, we have the chat in front of us. I can see you. Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous hosts. It's somehow...
Talk to him, Frost!
It has somehow been expected that you can talk about how much you jerked off to women as a compliment.
That
It's
shit weird.
not a compliment.
It's weird.
It's dehumanizing and it's weird. Women do not exist to be nice on the eyes for you. Morgan Webb, Olivia Munn did not exist to be nice on the eyes for you.
Do you want to watch
but you can still brush your teeth, though. Come on.
Do you want to watch this show anymore?
Well, I didn't before. But
I mean,
want
if
to
you were
tonight.
interested, if someone said to you, "Hey, G4TV's gonna be back," and you used to watch, you're like, "Yeah, great, it's back," and then you ran to this, would you want to watch it anymore? I don't want to watch it. This is not even the show that I want to watch. This is X-Play. That's what this is like. The set is X-Play is the same set style as X-Play was. This is not Attack of the Show. Attack of the Show is completely different. It's got a center console, all kinds of stuff. But I don't even want to watch the channel at all anymore. It's not that I don't want to watch. It's not that I don't want to watch Attack of the Show or X-Play. I don't want to have anything to do with G4TV. I'm done with them already. Just by this much. From here on, I can hit play. We can listen to the rest of her 3-minute rant. 3 minutes of her being abusive to the audience.
There was a really good reply on Twitter where they played just where you stopped, and then they show a whole bunch of clips of Morgan Webb and Olivia Munn being very sexualized for the show, including Olivia Munn removing her panties on air and throwing them onto Olivia's panty pile.
Yes. And that skit was Olivia Munn's idea. The skit where Olivia Munn jumps into a big vat of chocolate pudding, Olivia's idea. The maid outfit, Olivia's idea.
So I think to a certain degree, yes, they were for the ease of viewing for the male audience. That was very much a part of why they were cast.
Well,
Yeah, but she failed because her personality already kind of came across as shit. So honestly, you know what? Your looks don't matter no more anyway.
Yeah, I'm reading what Assassin, God damn it, is saying in chat, and he's saying all the same things I'm thinking. She is no Morgan Webb. You're absolutely right. She is not. Morgan was adorable. Her personality was adorable. And she, she's a pretty girl. sexy girl. She was on air with. You saw the video that Terry's talking about. They show her in a bikini. She's an attractive girl, but she's a smart girl. If you ever watched X play, she knew everything about everything, and she was an awesome gamer. And that was really the draw of the show, because she wouldn't really dress provocatively on the show. Olivia, on the other hand, was sexualized by herself.
Yeah.
She did it. So she was smart enough to know that sex sells. She's pretty. She offered to do things to play off that. Smart. It's smart to do that. I mean, the fact that they had Sarah Underwood, a Playboy playmate, do the news at the end of the show, I don't think that was by mistake. Now, granted, Sarah's not a stupid girl either. She did a great job at the news. She didn't fumble over lines. She didn't look like she was lost. She was competent at her job. The fact that she was a Playboy playmate, I'm sure didn't hurt any.
Of course not.
But this girl doesn't. This girl is yelling at the people watching the show. I don't know if this is the first one. Is this the first time?
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, I don't know, like, I could understand if it was like multiple dudes like complaining all at once or something. Maybe I'd get irritated, but at the same time, though, it's like, okay, you're not the cutest girl on the block. All right, that's fine. But then you took your personality and you turned yourself into a Karen. Like, you could have a point and be like, hey, I'm sorry I'm not as sexy as the other girls, but hey, I could be funnier, quirkier, have a personality.
And not one guy stood up. All the guys just there like, yeah, say it, queen.
But like, even if people in chat were being dickbags for whatever reason, ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you don't need to address them.
Well, that's what a professional would do.
That's exactly, and that really describes the previous show. Everyone on those shows was professional. This girl's not. She's letting her emotions get away with it. If I was like, the producer, I'd walk up to the show right as they were taping this and say, "What are you doing?" To stop her mid-sentence. What are you doing? And have her explain what she's doing right there and then. Well, I'm just trying to tell people, no, you're here to entertain. You're not here to expound on your personal views about the industry. You're here to entertain them, not yell at them. And if she can't properly explain why she felt it necessary to yell at the crew, I'd fire her right there on the spot, on air. I'm not going to stand for that. I'm not going to stand for you ruining our new channel, our return to glory, because you have a personal vendetta.
Like, I'm always happy if someone says, "Don't watch my show."
Okay.
I will be nice enough to grant you that favor. I am a very giving man. If you do not want me to watch your show, understood. I will do that for you.
Well, I'm not going to watch it. I mean, if I see an advertisement for Attack of the Show and it looks good, then maybe I'll watch that show. But I'm definitely not going to watch X-Play. Not if that's the kind of host that's on it.
Listen, I was so disgusted with what they did to He-Man that I have no interest in Netflix whatsoever. Even if they do have shows that are good, don't care.
Yeah.
I do not care.
I canceled my Netflix because I realized I was never watching anything on it. I signed up to Netflix. I watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is pretty woke. Like, when it's not being woke, it's funny, but they make sure to cram a good deal of wokeness into it. And The Good Place, which is just as bad as Brooklyn Nine-Nine for wokeness. And then I realized I'd never watched anything on it ever again.
Well, The Good Place, that's the one with Kristen Bell, right?
Yeah.
Well, she's ultimate wokey, so yeah, I can imagine that. I watched the first season of that, and I liked it. I didn't see a lot of woke in it, but I guess it probably turned because of her influence and society's influence.
Well, they they kind of kept it subtle. Like one of the things is like reasons that you would get sent to hell. One of them was like mansplaining or telling a woman to smile. Like they had this big list of reasons why you would get sent to hell, and like if you actually paused and read it, it was woke. Like they kept it out of the like main focus, but it was there. There was like hints of it all through.
Yeah. You know, I've been doing, Jen might not be aware of this, but I've been doing these little 1 or 2 sentence reviews of movies that I've been watching because I've been trying to make some progress on the movies that I have in my movie database. I have my own movie database in my house. I got over 2,000 movies. And I keep adding movies. I'm not watching them. So I said, all right, I'm setting aside a couple hours every day to watch at least one movie, maybe 2. And then I just do a 1 word, or not 1 word, 1 sentence or maybe 2 sentences about what I thought about it, and I give it a rating. And I tweet it out. And I kind of enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And nice little graphic, so you get a synopsis of the movie, the names of the actors, a picture of the poster, so you can kind of, you know, look at it and say, do I want to watch this movie or don't I? You know, and maybe take my review into consideration.
See,
And,
I have the same problem with my video games, but it takes a lot longer than a few hours to play through an entire video game. So I'm never going to get through my backlog.
So I give it a quick rating. And one of the last ones I did was Eternals. It's a Marvel movie, the one with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I
heard it was boring.
It was okay. It was a Marvel movie, so it can't be that bad. Even the worst Marvel movie is better than a lot of movies out there, to be honest with you. And you can see the Marvel in it. I mean, I would say probably the worst Marvel movie would be maybe Daredevil or Elektra. Were probably the worst Marvel movies, but that was before Marvel was a big thing. Now that Marvel's a big thing, I think Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, was the worst movie. With the one with with her in it, but the other movie, the one with the guy with the black cat outfit, what the hell am I thinking of? Panther. Black Panther. Probably the two, for me personally, 2 of the worst Marvel movies. But even them being the worst Marvel movies, they had things that were obviously bad about them. But in general, they weren't. I could watch it again. It wouldn't be stressful for me to watch it again. I mean, it'd be as interesting.
I'm the outlier here. I'm the outlier because I saw the first Iron Man movie, which is supposed to be like one of the best Marvel movies, and I was bored shitless. So I was like, if I don't like the really, really good one, I'm not going to watch any of the others.
Yeah. Well, Iron Man 1 started the franchise. And it was good enough to make a sequel. And I personally don't think either of the sequels, the second or third one, were better than the first. But I don't think Iron Man was the best movie in the Marvel franchise. It was certainly the one that kicked it off. So people give it a certain amount of respect for being good enough that they could build a franchise around it. But I think really the best movies were probably Captain America, Winter Soldier, and probably Avengers. The first Avengers movie were probably the best. But that entire franchise slowly got better and better and better as it went. And then there was the original Thor wasn't that great, and Thor: Dark World wasn't that great.
Well, that and the fact that they fucked up the Norse gods.
Yeah, I mean, they have their own take on it, and it really goes by the comic books as opposed to history. But if you've seen, what was the Infinity War?
Did you know in the Norse
Endgame?
gods that Hell is actually Loki's daughter?
Yeah. By Norse mythology, yes.
It's
the comic books.
Sorry, it changes the story. I just wish they wouldn't do that kind of stuff when it changes the story.
Comic books have their own take, but the great thing about the movies is the movies are true to the comics, so they're going to follow that same watch. But in any case, when you get to the point where you're watching,
I always get annoyed that Hercules is called Hercules in Greek mythology. That wasn't his name.
Roman
Yeah, I know,
mythology.
right?
Why are you using the Greek names for every character except Hercules?
Yeah. But if you get to the point where you're watching Infinity War and Endgame, I mean, I'm a 50-year-old man, and I'm a pretty solid person when it comes to controlling my emotions. And Endgame will make you cry. If you really cared about any of the Marvel thing, go out and just do look for channels that where they watch movies and they comment on movies. There's a lot of them out there, and watch the ones that do a watch along with me on Endgame. And just about every person who watches along, especially the girls, obviously, everyone's crying at the end of Endgame. It will tug on your heartstrings. And I'm a pretty, like I said, I'm a pretty solid guy. It takes a lot to get to me. But Endgame, if you don't feel something at Endgame, you're dead to the world. You really are. So I don't know how I got this far into this, but the point being is that Eternals had woke in it. And that was one of the comments I made when I said that, you know, when I gave it my rating, I said it was a little too woke for me, but it was still a Marvel movie, so it was still pretty good. You know, the effects were fantastic. It was a good story. The characters were top tier characters. I mean, they're top, you know, it was just, you could see too much of every person in there, except for Angelina Jolie and one guy. Everybody was a person of color. And one of the people of the Eternals is a black guy. He's gay. And they had to show him kissing another guy on the screen. That was a requirement. So that was why it became too woke for me, because they're obviously pushing an agenda on top of it. If you can just look at that stuff and say, oh, here we go, and just dismiss it, the movie was pretty good.
It's no wonder it didn't do well in China, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
No offense, but like, yeah, when they pull that whole, you guys just don't like the woke shit, and it's like, you're trying to sell that crap to like everywhere else. I don't know where you're trying to pull that crap with.
Well,
The
States are tolerant and accepting of it to a point, but the rest of the world is not like us.
No, and also I stand by what I said. If you can't write it well, don't write it at all. Japan has done it for ages. They've been doing it since probably the 80s. In terms of their anime, anyway. I'm sorry. They've had gay anime since like the 80s at least.
Yeah. So I mean, it was I still enjoyed the movie. I still thought it was pretty good, but that kind of, there are certainly Marvel movies that, even with it's hard to say this with the movie I have in mind, but it is a diverse movie if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, they have a tree and a raccoon. One girl's all blue, one girl's all green.
I keep meaning to watch those because I heard that they were really good.
They really are good. Yeah, they are honestly, literally better than Iron Man.
I also just want to see them because of Chris. It is Chris Evans, right?
Chris Evans is Captain America.
No, not Chris Evans.
Chris Pratt.
Pratt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I like him. I know I'm mangling his last name. I
He's
really
funny.
But I do like him as a comedian, and I don't care if he's a little bit Christian. Honestly, they got to get off their high horse because I've never, ever once heard of him ever doing or saying anything nasty to somebody who's LGBT, whatever.
He's a good Christian man.
He just goes to church, and he's happy with his wife. Oh my God, he's happy with his wife. Oh,
yeah.
Good for him. Good for him.
There's a scene in Endgame where in the shows, in the regular Guardians of the Galaxy movies, he falls in love with a character called Gamora. She's Thanos' daughter. She's all green. She's played by a black actress, the girl who played Uhura from Star Trek.
Yeah, she's a gorgeous lady.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I've seen pictures of her.
But yeah, she's all green, and they
it's amazing how she turned out too.
Yeah, they have a love story in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and in Endgame, she gets killed in Infinity War, and spoiler alert. And in Endgame, she shows up from another universe, and he walks up to her, not knowing it's a different Gamora, that she doesn't even know who he is. He walks up to her, and he puts his hand on her side of her face, and almost with tears in his eyes, says, "I thought I lost you." She grabs his arm, bends it backwards, and then tries to kick him in the nuts. And she kicks him, but she hits him in the thigh. Right? So he just kind of looks at her, and she pulls back, and she hits him again. This time she gets him right right hard, and knocks him on the ground. He covers up and puts his hand around, and he's in. You can tell he's in pain. He says, "You missed him the first time, but you got him both the second time." And then Gamora's sister walks up, and Gamora points to him, and she says, "I went out with this guy." And Gamora says, "Well, the only other option was a tree." and then they cut to Chris Pratt's face, and he's like, "What? Like, really? I'm not as good as a tree, kind of deal." It was a very, and of course around them is all this huge battle going around while they had this little scene. It was really endearing. But
yeah,
if you get a chance to watch, you can watch the Guardians of the Galaxy movies separate from the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
There's some crossover, but you can watch them and it will be okay. You don't have to. It's better if you include it and watch them all in a proper order, but they're separate enough that you can watch them standalone and still be okay. So if you get a chance, I highly recommend it. Maybe I'll just throw up a review too. I think the next review I want to do, I think I just did Alita Battle Angel. The next review I want to do is The Hunt for Red October, and that's just because I wanted to put Scribe in there. That's
I was going to say.
But then I think I'll do the two. I'll do the two. Whatchamacallits, the two Guardians of the Galaxy movies next.
Yeah, I do keep meaning to watch those two, just because out of the Marvel, they did seem the most entertaining. Like, the thing with the Thor is I'm not a big fan of Keira Knightley. It's the thing with her that I find with a lot of certain actresses is that they get to a certain point and then it just falls flat on their face.
Keira Knightley is not in Thor.
Isn't she though?
Are you thinking of Natalie Portman?
Not Natalie Portman, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I mean though, because I get them confused. Like between her, Keira Knightley, and sometimes even Emma Watson pops in. And it's not because it's not because they necessarily look the same.
They don't, yeah.
It's because of the acting. Like, I feel like ever since they got their first break movie, they haven't really played a different role.
Generic actress number one. Generic actress number two. Yeah, I know what you mean. Keira Knightley has bad teeth, very tall, no chest.
And it's... I'm not meaning to throw shade at them, because like the first movies that they were in, they seemed good. They were good movies. But then, it's when you realize that they're a one-track pony that you really feel disappointed with them. It's like, I'm sorry. I thought you were good enough. I thought they were pretty enough. I mean, I'm not a dude, so I'm not boning for them. I thought they were elegant and pretty enough. But, it's just like I said, it's a one-track pony. You catch on and you get bored. I get bored with it. I would much rather watch Gamora Lady, who can actually change her act to something completely different. Sorry. Like, when you can go from beautiful black lady to beautiful alien lady and be a completely different character, that is an actress to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am posting the black lady up and saying, "Hey, look, actress, not based off just her looks."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zoe Saldana plays Gamora. She also played Uhura on Star Trek 2009. So yeah, she's been a favorite actress of mine for a while. The thing that gets me is, and this is going to sound racist, but isn't, I get her and Thandie Newton always mixed up, because they look the same. I mean, not just skin color, but their actual facial features, their height, their color, their hair, their build. They look almost like the same person. It's so easy to get them mixed up.
Racist Hammer. What are we going to do with you?
I'm wondering if there's a way I can get this on the screen. Maybe I could just post pictures of them in chat. Maybe that'd be a better way of doing it. Copy link address. I'll put, geez, that's all long. That's too long. Yeah. Oop. That's Zoe Saldana and Sandy Newton. Yeah, that link is too long. That's the problem when you look up somebody on the YouTube to try to get a picture. Copy link address. See if this is. And of course, once you type in something too long, it's impossible to move it. You guys know who Sandy Newton is?
Nope.
Yeah, see every
one
link.
track put it with the one track by. That's what Cynic says.
Every link that I post for.
Yeah, I don't know who's famous these days. I am very
For
much
that reason
not in the loop.
alone, I'm in the same boat. Sorry, Terry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
The problem is when you go to Google and you say, show me an image of X person, the link to that person is like 4,000 characters long. So you can't post it. And see, 217 characters long. I can't post that in the chat because it's too long. You can only post 200 characters. I wonder if I could just go to the link and post.
Side note, Terry, did you see Cynic Spider?
Yeah.
Is that the acidic one? The one that bites you and you lose like bits of your freaking arms and shit?
All right, there's Sandy Newton.
I can't identify different types of spider, so I don't know. I would imagine that it's not terribly venomous.
I'll be right back.
Maybe Cynic can confirm, but if he's just casually showing photos of it and not concerned at all, it's probably pretty safe. Oh, Fandy. I thought you were saying Sandy. Sandy is a stupid name. She needs to change that.
Sir Adam says Portman was actually worse at acting than Anakin in Star Wars because she plays herself.
I have not seen the Star Wars prequels. So
they were boring.
I will take people's words for it that they are not good.
To be honest, the best thing about it is reimagining. Oh God, I can't even. It's been so long, I can't even remember his name. But the what the fuck his name is?
No, but whatever you were going to say, you're already wrong because the best thing about the Star Wars prequels is the Weird Al song that came from them.
Probably. No, I was thinking the character that nobody liked. It was like an alien. Jar Jar Binks. Somebody played this idea of him being a secret Sith Lord, that he was a drunken master because he's such an idiot, but like at the same time he never seems to get hit by anything unless it's comical or it looks like something he meant to get hit by. So it was just like, if you take out the idiot factor and you make him a hidden Sith Lord, because he does tank the entire universe in the politics, like he kind of does. And it's just convenient that it's always him.
No, I do like those sort of fan theories. There's one with Mass Effect where because everyone hated the ending to Mass Effect 3, someone came up with the idea that the bad guys actually won, and the entire ending is Commander Shepard being indoctrinated into like becoming one of the Reapers or the Reavers, or I forget what they were called, but the bad guys. He gets indoctrinated into becoming one of them, and that like explains all the problems with the ending. And then BioWare came out and said, no, that's not true. None of that is real. And like it was a perfectly good explanation that fixed the ending. And they're like, no, that's not real. That didn't happen. That's not the ending.
Oh, it was a huntsman. Okay. Yeah, I don't know your spiders off by heart. I know that there's some that are big, and I know not all of them are necessarily killers. It's just the ones that are really are.
No, I'm not terribly concerned if I see a spider. It's unlikely that I'll see one, and the ones I see, I know they're not going to be dangerous.
I gotta actually remember the name of the spider in question. Like, it has no eyes, and I refer to it as the dinosaur spider because apparently it's as old as it's old as fuck.
When I was a little kid, my dad used to call ice cream and Coke. He used to call that a spider. So when I hear people say that they're scared of spiders, it's like, what, Coke and ice cream?
Did I get back at an opportune time?
No, we were talking about spiders because Cynic posted a picture of one earlier, and it's just one of those things where I don't know enough about Australian spiders to know the difference between the bad ones and the good ones. I don't have an automatic fear of spiders. I have a natural fear of things that I don't necessarily know what the fuck they are.
Yeah.
That's basically all it is. It's like if you show me a snake, I'm not gonna freak out. But if I don't know what kind of snake it is, I might back away just because I don't know. One bite could kill you. It's the same with spiders. Like, I have a lot of respect for spiders, but at the same time, though, if I go to Australia, I might be like poking at the Australian next to me, being like, "Is that the one I gotta be worried about?" And then they're like, "No," and I'll be like, "Okay, I'm good then." And then I'll call it Charlotte because I don't know what else to name them.
I don't have a problem with snakes so much. I mean, I keep my distance from all of them. But there aren't that many in Pennsylvania that are dangerous. There's only like 2, and they're not very common even at that. But the brown recluse spider is very common up here.
Yeah, and those guys can be mean.
Yeah, they're not a happy spider in general. If they have a chance, an opportunity to attack, that you don't have to bother them. They'll come after you. They're just nasty. And the funny thing
It
is,
does sound very reclusive of them.
No.
If they're hunting people down.
No, but that's how they hunt. They hunt by hiding. That's why they're called the brown recluse. But the funny thing is, for as nasty as they are, and the pain that their bite gives you, the amount of pain per bite, they are not the most venomous spiders. Of all the spiders that you would think would be the least venomous, the daddy longleg is the most venomous spider out there.
I've heard that.
Yeah, the only deal is their bite can't penetrate human skin. So they can't hurt you. If they could, you'd be dead. But they can't. So for as venomous as they are, they're no threat. They're all over the place in Pennsylvania. I can't walk to the although it's a long driveway, I can't walk from the farm all the way down to the mailbox and back without seeing a couple on the ground. They're everywhere.
I imagine if one bit you, the pain would be enough to make a man cry.
Like I said, they can't penetrate the skin, but if they could, I don't know about pain, but the venom will kill you. I don't know how much pain you'll be in.
I was just trying to lead into the rest
story?
of the stories in the title.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess it's 9:40. How you doing, Jen? You okay?
I'm doing okay. I had a little nap, so I'm still good.
All right. Well, we'll try not to go too long. But yeah,
the other one with spiders too is if you've ever worked in a grocery store, they come in with produce all the time, bananas and grapes. They really like bananas and they really like the grapes. Black widows, I am okay with them. I just like knowing where they are.
Yeah. Well, they're easy to pick out of a crowd. They're a pretty obvious spider.
And they're shy. They really don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
As long as I know that about an animal, I'm actually okay with that because that's called learning their distance.
There are people who have out there that have them as pets. So
yeah.
They're. Oh, I probably should say hi to some people in chat. Cynic has joined us tonight, and Kiever Dam. Who else am I missing?
Cynic, Adamantine.
Sorry, Adamantine's out there. Yep.
Yeah.
But to honor Terry's attempt at a transition, we probably should move on to other topics because we've had enough about G4 already. Yeah. We have two other topics. One is BooHoo, and I think that's what Terry is referring to.
Yeah.
Saw a couple of tweets on Twitter, and Terry's seen them as well. I don't know if you caught up to them, Jen, or not, but I made a post about it where there's such a conflict about men showing their emotions. If you talk to women in general, they'll tell you, well, men should share their emotions. Men shouldn't be afraid to show their emotions. And then there was a tweet that came out that said, I'm sorry, but if I see a man cry, that's it for me. I don't want anything to do with him anymore.
See?
So I put a tweet out that said, men should learn to share their experiences and shouldn't be afraid to cry. Also, women, don't cry, you pussy.
Well, I will say men shouldn't be afraid to cry. They just shouldn't do it. They should do it in private. They should not do it publicly.
There's a thing with that, because for every rule there's an exception. If you're at your mom's funeral,
Yeah.
I think as long as you're not as long as you're not dramatic about it, if a tear comes down or something like that, being stoic.
I'd feel the same way about certain movies too. Like for certain movies, if it was actually dramatic enough to make me cry, and if the dude had like a little bit of dampness to his eyes, I wouldn't judge him for it.
No, but it depends on the type of crying. Like,
yeah.
At my dad's funeral, I got a bit misty-eyed, but I didn't bawl because I was in public. I was not going to do that. When I was at home and I could, let the grief run its course, that's when I cried, like proper crying. But at the funeral, I was like, no, this is not... I don't want people seeing me cry because they're relying on me to be strong for when they cry. So I need to, if they see me blubbering, then like no one can support anyone. So someone has to put their own feelings aside, which I'm happy to do, support the women who are very upset. And then when I was at home, I could cry as much as I needed to. And that was like the right place for it.
Well,
depending on the circumstances, I'll tell you one thing about dudes crying. It will make me cry. It will absolutely just break me. Seeing a dude just break down usually means that it really depends on the dude, right? It really does, because most dudes do exactly what Terry is saying. So usually if a guy breaks down in public, it's usually a sign that he couldn't hold on till he was in private.
Yeah.
It was hurting so bad he couldn't hold on until he got into private, and that will cause me to break down.
I don't have any problems crying. I don't ever blubber. But
Yeah.
I don't have any problems crying in public or in front of anybody. I don't care. I'm a human being just like everybody else is. I got emotions like everybody else does. So, what's to be gained? What someone else thinks of me? I don't give a fuck.
No,
I just don't care.
It's not so much what people think of me. It's that they needed someone to be strong for them to sort of be supported while they were having a meltdown. And if I was melting down too, then no one could fill that role. So I was quite happy to put my own feelings aside to support my mum and auntie, who were far more emotionally distraught than I was, because they needed it more. So it's not that I was worried that my auntie is going to think I'm a pussy for crying at my dad's funeral. It's just,
Right.
No, they needed me to be the stoic one. So I was.
I imagine you were probably pushing a little bit of adrenaline too. I'm not sure if that's the right one to use. Like when you're kind of in the middle of what is kind of an emotional battle, you're still technically fighting, you know?
Yeah.
So you're kind of running on that too. And that's a man thing, and that's not something to be ashamed of. Like, men do that. Like, it's kind of a natural instinct to be like, okay, well, you know, shit's kind of hit the fan, and I'm the only one right now who's immediately capable of holding it together. I'll do it until I can take my own time.
My basic thing is, if there's stuff that needs to be done, I'll do that. And then once that's done, then I can have an emotional reaction. But while stuff still needs to be done, that has to wait.
And I mean, it's another one of those things that, like, yet again, it is across the gender board. Like, some women do have that. Not everyone has that. Like, women who have it make the best nurses. They kind of do, or the best kind of people to have around children, because they're very good at holding their temperament. But men naturally do that in cases of that. Like, it's the difference is like you're both kind of moderate a little bit, you know. Like, the difference is the blubbering kid, like the guy who goes from I didn't learn how to stop crying for shit until I was 14 or 15, you know, like stomping feet on the floor kind of shit. And then grew up with that kind of mentality, you know. Like, there are some men who legit are like that nowadays.
But there's also, like, girls are rewarded for crying. Boys, I should say, are scolded. Like, if I did something and I started crying, I'd get a clip around the back of the head and toughen up your little sit. Like, maybe not that harsh, but, you know, like, boys don't cry. What are you doing? Toughen up. Whereas if my sister bawled her eyes out, she got what she wanted because, oh, don't cry. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's just people treat the different genders differently. It's normal.
They call that the patriarchy.
Well, I got lucky because my parents were across the board, no whining whatsoever. Well, unless I had a reason to cry, I better not be crying. Like, you know, I better have blood or something.
I'll give you a reason to cry.
Yeah, you know.
I'll give you the circumstance for me that I'm referring to, much less so much at a funeral where you have to have a certain modicum of strength to keep everybody else together. That's a specific issue. But when I lost my cat, I was by myself. I had to take her to have her put down. And I was allowed to hold her while they gave her the injection and hold her while she died. Aww. And when she was dying, I was crying my eyes out, blubbering, crying my eyes out, because the only other person that was there was the nurse.
Yeah.
And I didn't give a flying fuck about her. And the only thing that caught me is that she was crying too.
Oh, yeah.
When my dad was in hospital,
she saw how much it was hurting me, and she was empathetic about it. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've never been in that situation, fortunately. It sounds like grueling. I think I would be crying in that case as well.
Yeah, I just saw no reason to hold back because I don't care about the nurse, you know. So I mean, it's like I'm basically by myself. It's just me and the cat. So and I have a little bit more toxic masculinity built into me. I simply don't care what other people think very much. And it's not necessarily a good thing, but it is.
I mean, we're still dealing with death here. Like, men shouldn't cry for trivial reasons. Like, women probably shouldn't too, but they can get away with it.
I'm going to disagree with you again. I'm sorry.
I bet you anything that the nurse that you were dealing with knows for a fact that the feminists are full of shit. Like, sure. I remember watching this video of this guy who rescued eagles, and he'd been doing it for 50 years. And he said it's very rare that he actually manages to save an eagle. because if they get just a little bit damaged and they can't rescue them and set them free, like they can't keep them, like they have to set them free. They can't just send them to a zoo. They can't just send them to, they have to put them down. And so he's constantly caring for these birds with the intentions that they never fall in love with him. He's not allowed to, like, even though you know that he's falling in love with every bird, he's not allowed to let them fall in love with him. And he's constantly having to put them down. And, he did this little video and he cries on the video. And this guy's like gotta be in his like 60s. Older than that if he's been doing it for 50 years. Like he's an old man doing this. Mm-hmm. And he's just in tears because he's had to put it down another eagle. And it's one of those things where, like, fuck you feminists for saying that men don't have emotions or that they don't care, or we just
don't show it very much.
He just don't show it very much. And he's just like, it never ever gets easy for him to do it. But
actually, men do show their emotions, just not the female approved way of showing their emotions.
Yeah.
He shows it with his actions. That's what he said. He shows it with his actions because he's still doing it. Most people only take on that career and last for maybe 4 or 5 years before they can't do it anymore because it breaks their heart. He did it for that long because he knew it was hard.
There are some things that just trigger me. There's nothing I can do about it. You know how big of a Star Trek fan I am. Yeah, and everybody knows that about me. I don't hide that fact. It's one of the most favorite things in my life. Is I enjoy Star Trek, all of it. I'm even on the Star Trek stream. Here's a quick plug with Blind Press and Skep Tock and Dr. Functional and IP on Saturdays at 5, doing a Star Trek channel. I love Star Trek. And who's the most bravado character on Star Trek than Captain Kirk? The man has people dying left and right all the time. And he just kind of grimaces into the camera like, he's angry. That's how he always showed it. But there was this one time, Wrath of Khan, Spock sacrifices his life and gets the ship out of danger. And they're burying him. They put him in a photon torpedo and they're going to fire him out onto the Genesis planet. And Kirk's kind of giving the quick eulogy. And he says, of all the people I've met in my life, his was the most. And his voice cracks at that point. I'm a pretty good actor. I can make my voice crack anytime I want. For Kirk, the person that Kirk is, for his voice to crack is just next level crazy, And that every time that I come to the movie and that comes to that point, I get teary-eyed. I can't help it. So it's not like it's not like I'm doing that. Yeah. But there's tears coming down my cheeks. I have to wipe them away. It's just for somebody that capable of holding back all of their feelings for so long to crack when their best friend dies. Yeah. Even Spock's underling, played by the girl from Cheers. What the hell's her name? Kirstie
Alley?
Kirstie Alley. Yeah, she plays Savick in that episode. They have another person play later, but after he says that, he says his was the most human, and he kind of grunts out the word human because he can barely talk. They quickly pan over to Savick. She's Vulcan. She's crying. It's an emotional scene. It is just an emotional scene. You wouldn't expect it from Star Trek. Sci-fi, fantasy, gunslinging, warp drive, technology, and then they get to this really hard emotional point in the movie. It's like, Jesus. Somebody quickly break out a phaser and shoot something, for Christ's sake. Anyway, there are times where I do. I mentioned Endgame. Endgame's another movie that gets me. There's a couple of movies out there that will get me. My girlfriend thinks it's great, so I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't bother me that I do that.
Sorry.
She's just pissed I won't cry at any of her movies. Come on, The Notebook is not a crying movie. I'm sorry.
Sorry, which one? The Notebook? I didn't care.
Yeah, I didn't care either.
It was
Yes, I
it
watched
was it was the same sphere of time as like pumpkin lattes, and you know what? I didn't care for those either. So
Never had one. That's a woman's drink. I don't have nothing to do with it. I don't mean to attack you, Terry. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. Everybody is different. If you feel that it's
Yeah.
important to have a brave face and it's important to you, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just am so arrogant that I just simply don't care. You know, it's a fault in me. I should care more. I really should care. Because yeah, there are people who are depending on me too. But I get if my emotions say to do something, then I'm just going to do it. And if somebody else doesn't like it, I don't.
Yeah.
It bounces
No,
off.
I'm very much a case of while stuff needs to be done, that comes first.
yeah.
Like if I was a blubbering mess the same way that my mom and my auntie were, that funeral would never have got planned. Like it just couldn't have happened.
Right.
Someone had to be the stoic one to get
Yeah.
shit done that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm the man here. I'll do it. It's just like,
I know you're not a movie guy. Are there any movies that get to you like that?
I will say, and this might surprise people, but Click, the stupid Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Oh, the one with the remote control.
Yeah. There was a bit where I forget the exact circumstances, but it was basically he realized how much his father loved him and that he had completely neglected he hadn't even noticed it. And then he was using the remote to rewind the final moments that he spent with his father, and he was like devastated, and that got to me too. He's just constantly watching his father say, "Goodbye, son. I love you," and like sadly walking out of the office. And Adam Sandler's character's like, "Yeah, whatever." And then the one with the remote is just watching that scene over and over again, and like that got to me.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Jen? Is there a movie that just you find it hard to watch? It's just so emotionally taxing.
No. I find it. There's several movies where I find it. I easily cry, like silly things like I can't remember the full name of the title, but I think it was Marlin and Me. But it was about a dog, and the dog died at the end.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, I cried for that one.
Is it
Like
Marley?
stuff like that.
What was the name
Yeah,
of that movie?
Marley. I think it was Marley and Me. I'm not sure.
That
Let me
doesn't
just.
sound right. Marley and Me. Yeah, Marley. Marley and Me. With I'm looking at the pictures of it right now. It was with that guy with the nose, Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
I
seen
didn't give a shit about either of them, but the dog was pretty much the only reason I watched.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
but the dog-
I remember that movie. It got me too.
But I'm always kind of like that with animals in a movie. Like if an animal is hurt in a movie, I'll cry. But humans on the other hand, it really depends on the situation. Like it really, like if it was really well done or if it was emotional, yeah, I could. I just don't really watch a lot of that kind of stuff. Like,
Did you ever see Turner and Hooch?
Turner and Hooch? Yeah, when I was a kid.
Turner and Hooch with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was one of my favorites because the dog was so big.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I wanted to
pretty
ride.
tough.
I was like, if I could put a saddle on that dog, I'll ride it home.
It's pretty hard to watch Hooch die, though. That was a tough one too.
Yeah.
I saw the movie as a kid. I remember nothing about it.
Yeah, it's a favorite of mine. I'm regardless of his politics, I'll always be a Tom Hanks fan. Just about everything he's done, I liked, even stuff that wasn't that great, like the last movie he did, Finch.
Yeah,
wasn't that great of a movie, but he was great in it. You know, he made Apollo 13. If it wasn't for him, that movie was average, but he made it a great movie. Just his personality. And then what, Castaway? I mean, these are movies that You know, could you put anyone else in there and have it as good of a movie? No.
I never got sort of that keen on Tom Hanks, but as you've noted, I'm not a movie guy, so
Right.
I have no love or hate for Tom Hanks. I just suspect
Yeah.
he's probably one of the weirdos in Hollywood that I wouldn't trust with a stick or alone in a room.
Have you ever seen his wife?
I have.
Rita Wilson?
Yeah.
He's a lucky
was
guy.
Yeah.
He's a lucky guy. That's a beautiful woman.
It's just one of those things where like he probably is the luckiest guy. But at the same time though, for some reason people in Hollywood just do the weirdest shit. And I don't
Yeah.
trust them because of it. You know?
I know he's been stainless all this time, and he's married to a really beautiful woman, unless they're doing something in Epstein behind our backs that we don't know about. The funny thing was, he was in a movie called That Thing You Do. He plays a record promoter.
Yep.
He discovers the band. His wife is in that movie. And they're not in the movie together, except for a deleted scene where they're actually in the movie, where they're actually in the same scene with each other. But the person who was supposed to act in the movie was sick when they started to do filming. So he called up his wife and said, "Come in here and play this part." And she did. She like, "Right now?" Yeah, right now. And she was, I mean, it was in LA, and they live in LA. She got in the car, drove down. They put her in makeup for 45 minutes and then put her right in the movie. And she was the actress. Pretty funny. Pretty funny backstory. Anyway, you guys want to talk politics? We're a little over already.
Yeah, we could do a little politics.
And Jen's yawning.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
You okay?
I don't have much to say about the Electoral College, but
You guys are both vitally invested in this part, aren't you? Ew, you have that electrical college thing. It's not electrical, it's electoral. Okay?
To be honest, I kind of wish we had it.
Skep is quite clear that it's electrical.
Electrical college. It's where you get to learn about electricity. What were you saying, Jen?
Oh, I was saying I kind of wish we had it.
Really?
A little bit more. Yeah.
Because I've been fighting tooth and nail to keep it with people on Twitter. They just don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just have no idea.
Yeah, they don't understand what it's like to be trapped between like BC, no offense, or I love you to bits, or Ontario and Quebec, no offense to our Ontario fans and one friend from Quebec.
There are other things in other governments that I like. There's no two ways about it. I think that they would probably work well for us here, but you simply cannot remove the electoral college. It is designed to do exactly what it does, and it's a vital part for us. It may not be a vital part for anybody else. For us, it has to be that way. There is nobody around that is like us. Neither Canada nor Australia have 50 states or provinces. We're the only one that has all of these states, and they are all separate and autonomous to themselves for the most part. And to make it work properly so that we can all work together, electrical, now you got me doing it. The Electoral College is vital to making that work. And people just don't get it. They just don't get it. Now, I've heard people say, well, if you get rid of the Electoral College, then New York and California will run the entire country. And that's not really true. Because even with California and New York, if they were both to do exactly the same thing, there's enough other states that have enough people in them, enough population in them, that if they all went against those two states, the two states would win. Or the two states would lose. If you brought Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, all these other states that have pretty good populations, and they all went Republican in their thoughts, and it was only California and New York that were Democrats, California and New York would lose. There's just too many states with too many people for those two states to run everything. But if you were to take the top 5 out of 50, then yeah, if you take the five, actually probably the top 6, including Illinois. If you were to take the top 6 in population, they would run everything. If they all agreed on one thing. And I tried to explain to somebody, I said, like, I live in Pennsylvania, And Pennsylvania makes its money off of fracking. It is vital to our economy here. Without fracking, we are very poor. Fracking is our only thing. And if we were in a true democracy, not a republic, and California and New York somehow were managed to wrestle control of the country, and they decided fracking was bad and banned fracking, Pennsylvania immediately becomes the poorest state in the union.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put the interests of any particular states over everyone else. And they'll tell you, well, just because shouldn't it be one person, one vote? Isn't that the most way to do it? I said, yeah, but that's a true democracy, but that also is considered mob rule. If everybody in the top 6 or 7 states decide that fracking is bad, then Pennsylvania has no autonomy anymore.
Well, the other thing that you could just say, well, if 50% plus one decide that gay marriage should be illegal, are you going to be, okay, fine. The majority voted for it.
Yeah, I actually use slavery, but gay marriage would be just as good of a weapon
Well,
to
I
use.
think gay marriage is more
Contemporary.
unique to that side. Like everyone is against slavery, whereas like they are very, very, very pro gay everything.
Yeah.
Whereas the other side is more ambivalent. They don't really care.
Yeah.
Whereas so like gay rights is very much their thing. So if 50% plus one decided gays don't need marriage, fuck them. Would you be like, well, if that's what the majority of the country wants, it was decided democratically? No, of course they wouldn't.
State autonomy is vital, and I tried to explain to this guy that our country is designed with gridlock in mind. The whole idea of the United States is to try to get nothing done, if possible. It has to really, really, really matter before anyone will do anything about anything. If it's close, nothing's going to happen. And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way the founders, the whole point of checks and balances is exactly that.
Yeah.
That's why we have a president and a House and a Senate, so that they can play off each other, And if something really vital comes up, the Supreme Court comes in and helps makes the decision. So, I mean,
you can just compare it to Australia and New Zealand, where like people were praising Australia and New Zealand because their governments could get things done. Yeah, at a cost. And that is like, look at Australia and New Zealand now. If there'd been more control over what the government could impose on its citizens, we'd probably be in a much better situation. But they can do what they want.
But you do have something I do like. I like your voting system. I like the fact that you're required to vote. And if you don't get
not just that,
vote, you'll be penalized. I like that.
No, but not just that. I like our method of voting. I don't think first past the post is a good system.
Yeah.
You rank all the candidates from best to worst.
Yeah.
And then that is used so you can't waste your vote. Like if you really, really like, the Green Party for whatever reason, you can put Green as number 1, but then put Labor as number 2, so that when your vote for the Greens, like they get eliminated, you're still voting for Labor, which is like your second best option, but you're not wasting a vote by voting for a party that can't win.
Yeah. You have a tiered system, and I think that's a great thing. We don't have a tiered government. We only have, we have independents, but not really. When it comes right down to it, they never really have a chance. But we only have a 2-party system. So, but I think if we implemented a tiered system here, other parties would be able to participate.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that's something we should adopt. But to be honest, Jen, I don't think I want to take anything from Canada.
I wouldn't. I mean, we're already sending you everything anyway. So, I mean, take our coal, take our geese,
your oil. I don't think there's that much that's different. I mean, you call things different names, but they're basically the same thing. You call them provinces, we call them states, but they're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a different word, really. And you still have a president, and you have a Trudeau, you have a Biden. So that doesn't really
Well, I think
change.
there's actual differences between prime ministers and presidents,
Yeah,
but I don't actually know what they are. I believe there are differences.
it's the attachment to the queen that's that makes them different.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not attached because we're a different country, but it's the whole like.
Well, the Queen is still the head of state in Australia, I believe.
Same here.
Yeah, you guys really need to dump her.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I had a say in the matter, we
Listen,
would not
if
have
I
any
could
connection
switch
to-
her, if I could switch out Trudeau for the Queen, I would do it.
I think
Happily.
we triggered Jen.
But the thing is she's retired. Happily, she's retired. I don't think
No,
she'd take the job.
If I had my way, Australia would have no connection to the royal family whatsoever. We should be our own country.
Well, I mean,
But-
you should be. I mean, we should be. But if you could trade her out, if you could trade out your leader for her, would you? Right now? Because I would.
If she did nothing, then that's probably the best of the government you could hope for.
You know, all you had to do is, you know, just get the French and get a lot of guns, and you can get rid of her too. I mean, we did.
I don't think there's enough public support for the idea. I think I'm very much in the minority.
Yeah. I don't know. I as long as you have her on your money, you guys are still slaves, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, like I said, I think she is still technically the head of state.
Yeah. What does the head of state do in your country? Do they have any role?
I think it's
just
the
a
ability to remove a prime minister, because that was a
really?
big deal. That was a big deal with Gough Whitlam. Is like
Say for us.
the Queen removed him from office. I don't know the exact details because it was before I was born, but from what I've heard, there was a whole thing with like, yeah. I don't know if it's the Queen directly, like her representative in Australia, the Governor General did it, but he was acting on like supposedly on behalf of the Queen, or you know, how I don't know the exact details of how it's meant to work, but something along those lines.
It's one of those things where, like, if a prime minister got seriously reprimanded, like they really got caught doing bad things, like against the law, things that they got the naughty naughties, and enough of it is bad enough to get them removed. That's kind of where you appeal to the governor general, and then the governor general will speak on behalf of the Queen, and yeah, that's how you get rid of your prime minister.
Assassin says the Queen needs to say, "Will no one our lands of these meddlesome priests," referring to leftist and hostile colonizing foreigners, and yes, you will love her. I understand that.
But
When it comes,
Cynic says that there's talk about going republic once Queen Elizabeth dies. I mean, hopefully. I don't think there should be any connection between our two countries.
I wouldn't. Then you'd be stuck with Meghan Markle. She'd end up moving there next because she realizes she's going to fail in the U.S. and she's already failed in Canada, and she can't go back to the U.K. So there's only you guys. So
I don't think the Queen's going to die. I think she's a lizard person. She's been around too long. She's around longer than Zuckerberg. The only thing I've ever thought about when it comes to the Queen is I'm a fan of a comedian, Eddie Izzard, and he does a whole thing about how the Queen is seen in France and Great Britain, and how she's, you know, the Queen is like, you know, so revered, and everyone's like, oh, it's the Queen. Ooh. He says even the national anthem is about the Queen. God save the Queen, right?
Yeah.
And he says that's not right for the world today. It should be God attack the Queen instead of God save the Queen. God attack the Queen and send big dogs after her to bite her bum. And he goes on. He sings like the national anthem, but he twists it around so it's all against her. You know.
Yeah.
And it's very funny. That, I mean, that's when I think of Europe in general, you know, I don't really ever think of the monarchy. I always think about, well, Europe is like, oh, there's like Scotland and there's Ireland and there's Wales and there's Britain. You know, I think of all the countries, you know, Italy, all things that make them the European Union. Well, not Great Britain anymore, but but that's what comes to my mind. That monarchy never really enters my thoughts. I don't think about Prince Charles or Prince William or, you know.
I give zero shits about the royal family.
I really don't. And in all honesty, the only reason I've been following the Meghan Markle stuff is because it's been funny. It's just been funny. She's such a clown. She's such a clown person to laugh at.
she runs that marriage. She is the man in that marriage.
Oh, clearly. That's obvious to anyone.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, at best, I feel bad for the queen in that regard, because I don't doubt that woman is never going to let her see her grandkids. And I don't care who you are in this world, but if you're the kind of person to deny someone the chance to see, like,
your progeny
family, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Just saying. Especially when you know there's no real reason to do that.
Cynic in chat says no one has the same sentimental attachment to Prince Charles. That's true. No one I know thinks as highly of Prince Charles as they think of the Queen. It's like everyone is always like, you know, oh, the Queen's great, but I've not seen that reverence for Prince Charles.
Mr. Yes asks, when will Ireland be reunited?
Never.
Yeah, it's probably my same reply. I don't think there'll ever be a single united Ireland. The Protestants and Catholics have made a truce, but it's only an uneasy truce, because you can. The thing about that situation, I'll just say that situation, is that you can't, as a Catholic, walk through a Protestant area and have someone look at you and say, you're Catholic. You know, if you're black and you walk through a white neighborhood, well, that's pretty clear. You're black, this is a white neighborhood. So it's easy to discern.
Not necessarily.
Your religious
Justin Trudeau.
but your religious background, you can't just look at somebody and tell what their religious beliefs are. So the buffer for Ireland, there's no reason to end it. It can go on forever and everyone can be fine with it. So I don't see any reason for it to ever go away. What do you think, Jen?
Sorry, I was distracted.
I
was trying to think what did he say and make it seem like I hadn't been distracted, but I was.
It's okay to be distracted. Do you think Ireland is ever going to become one country? Because right now it's Ireland.
Oh yeah, eventually
Really?
they are. Yeah, Northern and Southern Ireland do want to be a part of the same country. It's just like there's other politics there too. Like the North seems to be happy with where they are. Or sorry, not the North, the South. I get them confused. I really do. I know people from the side that are free and they're
south
very
of the
happy.
Catholics, the north of the Protestants. Me and Terry aren't as optimistic. We don't think they're gonna ever get together.
No.
I think they're separate and they're happy with being separate. And I don't think either side really sees a reason to change that.
Yeah, I mean, just like I don't think there'll ever be peace between, you know, the Middle Eastern nations that are feuding with each other. Like, never going to happen.
Is this a scorpion and a scorpion?
Yeah, it's just a way of life.
It's just it's in their nature.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I don't think anyone wants, on either side, to make peace.
Maybe as generations come and go, kids kind of eventually let go of that ancient anger with each other. Maybe
it depends, because there's also, like, parents will instill that in their children if they can.
Yeah. Well, some will.
Yeah.
Some will, but then their kids go to liberal college and come back out not knowing what gender they are. So that might be in the long run.
Oh, so true.
it's
I don't think
also
that's gonna
Ireland,
happen.
and the reason I'm kind of gonna have to disagree with you is because a lot of the times they really don't know what they're talking about. Like if you talk to them about politics, they're all liberal, but then you talk to them about like what the actual politics are about, and they're like, no, I actually agree with this and this and this and this, because they all kind of watch the same TV. Irish people are fun. I like Irish people, but they're different.
Did you say
Yeah.
fun or drunk?
Both.
Fun and drunk.
Yeah, my dad is half Irish, half Welsh, and yeah, he fits the stereotype perfectly. He's a very happy. He's when he's not drunk, he's a fighter, but when he's drunk, he's a happy drunk. Or at least
See,
he
when I
was. He's
think
been
of-
dead 8 years, but
And I think a combination of Irish and Welsh, I think so drunk they can't even pronounce the words in their own language.
yeah, he was quite the character. He fought in World War II, and you know, he was a pretty good provider. But yeah, it was yeah, he definitely lived up to the idea that Irishmen have a tendency towards a wee bit of the bottle, you might say. So, and it's funny because I haven't had an alcoholic beverage since I was in my 20s. I think I went to a party when I was like 22 or 23 and had a beer, and I haven't had an alcoholic drink since.
Yeah, I
So
don't drink
I
either.
am not. There's very little active Irish except for the color of my skin. I am that luminescent white that you can see right through, and you can see my veins. That's the
Yeah.
Irish skin where it's so translucent that you can hold it up to a light and you can read letters through it. Yeah, that's me. The kind that I've heard. These are all common things. You walk out in the sun, burst into flames. That's very much the kind of skin I have. So yeah, I definitely have that side. My brother has my mom's Polish side. He's got a little bit more of that. My sister's kind of a mix, and he's definitely got more of that olive skin kind of deal. Walk out in the sun and you turn brown in a few minutes, kind of deal. Like transition sunglasses. He tans really easy. I wish I had his skin, but from what I understand, the people who tan also have a tendency to have cancer. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. But
I don't know for sure, but I would hypothesize that if you're pale and you burn easily, you either put more sun lotion on to prevent it, or you just spend less time in the sun because you'll burn.
yeah,
Whereas if you're more likely to tan, then you're more likely to just spend long hours outside because it doesn't burn you.
I always wear a hat. I always wear a shirt outside in the summer. Not a long sleeve, but my arms can handle it. I have enough freckles from being Irish that I can handle the sun on my arms okay, and I have nice thick fur on my arms. I sound like a chimpanzee here. So I don't really have that much of a problem as long as I put a hat on. Because I don't get a hat on, I'm bald enough that I will toast my skull. So I'm gonna stay away from that. But anyway, you guys have anything else you want to chat about before we get out of here? I don't want to.
Not really for chatting, but just a quick announcement that a little brand muffin told me that Quippers United is coming back. So that will be on Sunday in America, Monday in Australia. So yeah, drop by Quippers United and
Make fun of Jack. Absolutely.
yeah, basically.
That's what we do on the show.
That sounds good.
Did he ever explain why he took a sabbatical? Just for a little bit of burned out or something?
He was working on his thesis for university.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's legitimate. Damn it.
Yeah.
Keyword Dam says, Hammer, you don't like alcohol? It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I have no taste for it. It's a funny thing that my grandfather actually owned a beer garden. So it's not like we didn't have access at any point, but I just don't enjoy being tipsy or drunk. And
that's my problem too.
Yeah, and I don't really like the taste of alcohol. I mean, you can drown it out with strong tastes of other things.
Yeah.
My mom is actually legitimately allergic to alcohol. Even if you hide it in something like a screwdriver or an Alabama Slammer or other drinks that will hide the taste of it, a kamikaze, if you give it to her and don't tell her, she still throws up. She can't drink alcohol at all. And her father owned a beer garden. The irony of it all. It's not like I don't like it. I just don't get anything out of it. So why bother? I am the most middle of the road vanilla person you'll ever meet when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't commit crimes. I am the most boring person in the world. Really. I think the only thing that's radical about me is my political beliefs. Even that, I don't think is being a centrist. I don't think is radical, really. So, I don't know. Kiever seems happy with that explanation. Why don't we get out of here? Because it's like 10:30,
Alrighty.
and I don't want to put you guys to sleep outright. So, because that will happen.
Bye, guys.
Thanks as always, guys, in chat for finding the channel and stopping by and interacting with us and keeping the show moving. If you're looking for more of the zoo, our Discord is linked in the description down below, and we are live every evening with most shows starting around 11:30 Eastern, 7 days a week. Quiz on Monday and Skep on Tuesday. We're, of course, at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. Johnny Hellcat Thursday nights. Sanguine is this Friday, of course. Harry Channel starting off the weekend on Saturday, and Delahazed back to his posts on Sundays. We will be back next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. You can tell it's getting late in the show. At 9 o'clock. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.